Welcome to Be a Baller, where we're building a lifelong legacy for our families, communities, and the world. Your host, Coach Tim Brown, is excited for you to join him on this journey. On each episode, we'll be talking about how to be intentional about building a lasting legacy. We'll be exploring what it means to leave a mark that goes beyond just our lives, but has a positive impact on those around us and even generations to come. So, if you're looking for inspiration, guidance, and practical tips on how to build a lasting legacy that makes a difference, then you're in the right place. So grab your earbuds, get comfortable, and let's dive in. It's time to be a baller.
We are live from the Be a Baller Ballers Edge event. All right, I like that. Okay, y'all ready? All right, let's roll. Let's roll. All right. Hello, everybody, and I am Chris Stevens, and I am the guest host for the Be a Baller podcast, where we teach and talk about building a lifelong legacy. I am live at the Ballers Edge event, and I have the absolute honor of interviewing two powerhouses of both creative design and entrepreneurship. Our first guest today, I am so excited about doing this today, and I hope they're excited to do this. Our first guest, Christian Johnson. Christian is a project manager and creative designer with experience in business and logistics. She is the co-founder of ABC, Black Iconic Figures. Christian possesses a strong background in education, special event planning, program development, politics, and mentorship. She currently works with the YWCA to empower women and eliminate racism through various advocacy programs and projects for women, girls, and marginalized and underrepresented communities around Columbus. She is also the CEO and founder of C. Noel Designs and business manager for Broken English 101. Please give a hand for our first guest, Christian Johnson. Our second guest hails from Northland High School. Caden is a creative, a graphic designer, a scholar, as well as a myriad of other titles. He has interned at various companies, including NBBJ, Columbus Fashion Alliance, and Warhol on Wall Street, acquiring skills such as personal branding, architectural principles, and trend and analytic research. Man, Jesus. Again, just a reminder, he is a current and soon-to-be graduate of the Northland High School, where he is a part of the STEM club. There's a few other things. He's doing so much. He's so busy. And he also attends Columbus State and Fort Hays Career Center. He's also a proud member of the National Honor Society and Technical Honor Society. And here's a real thing we should really celebrate. He's been on honor roll all 4 years. All 4 years. Give it up, everybody, for Caden Gadjigo. How you folks doing today? Everybody good? Hopefully those mics are on and not muted, team. Yep. Here, switch me. I got you. Here, I got you. Here you go. I'll do that one.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Happy
to be on stage. You're a celebrity out here.
Apparently.
Let me find out.
Guys,
all right.
There's a few Vikings in the room. I hear y'all over there. Okay, all right. First question this is for both of you. This is for both of you because you both are in both creative design and you both are entrepreneurs as well. The first question I want to give to both of you, or want to ask you, is tell your story about how you got into creative design and entrepreneurship for those who are in hopes to do the same thing.
Sure.
Well, you can go first because my story is super long.
I have a long story as well, but I'll make it short. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to be here with all of you. Thank you to Mr. Brown for the invitation. So my pathway into creativity and entrepreneurship probably started in high school. I am far removed from high school, so it's been many, many moons ago. But I started making greeting cards Like I wanted to be the next Hallmark when I was in high school. It was really just a passion of mine to make greeting cards. It didn't go anywhere whatsoever, but you got to start somewhere. I had family friends just buying greeting cards from me. They were terrible looking back, but I did. That's kind of where it started. But I always had this passion to create. Moving forward, I went to school for education, so I got my teaching degree. Then I decided that I didn't want to be a teacher for the rest of my life because no. And then, so once I decided that I didn't want to be in the educational space anymore, I still had the passion to educate. So I went back to college and got my master's degree in business administration. And that's where my passion for entrepreneurship lied. I realized that I was not designed to work a 9-to-5, but I did not know what that looked like. My passions lied in various of different areas, from event planning to mentoring to just being in a space where I could curate an exciting environment for the folks who decided to share space with me. And when I realized that I no longer wanted to work for the man, if you will, I said, let me give this business thing a try. You know, I knew nothing about owning a business. No one in my family owned a business. I didn't have mentors that were able to educate me on learning a business. It just sounded cool. And I'll stop there to say I have learned a lot about owning a business just by trial and error. I'm sure there'll be more questions after that. So
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Well, I started my business mainly, like, I would say about freshman year of high school. I remember I was in English class and we were doing everything but English work. So I was sketching in my notebook like a character in my sketchbook. It was about it's my mascot now, essentially. And my friend was like, well, why don't you put that on a shirt and start a whole brand off of that? And he was joking at the time, but I was like, why not? I was interested in fashion already, so I was like, let me start a brand. So the same day, we ended up getting it was me, a couple of my friends, we came into the library at lunch and we started having a meeting about what this brand should be and everything, what the name is. So just from conceptualizing, getting that together, and then I learned from that I just don't really like doing the design process mainly with a group of people. There's just too many cooks in the kitchen. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it's just not how I like to do it. So I just kept working on it by myself for just about a couple of years, and then moving over to my junior year, I got introduced to the graphic design program at Fort Hays, and my teacher was I think he was a retired millionaire with his business essentially. So he was telling us about all these things that we can do. So that just shot up in me. So I applied, got in there, and then I just started working on my brand from there, start coming up with the values and everything. I noticed growing up that I never really had that community around being a creative. So I realized what if I made that my brand's mission, to be able to provide creatives that are also in my shoes that have all these great ideas but don't have that community of people that they can come workshop with, or even just be able to just talk to about their work on an artistic standpoint. So that's why I started my cold clothing brand and everything. And moving from that, I've done a lot of great work with my brand. My brand has hit about 1 year in the making right now. So we're doing about 3 pop-up shops, a couple fashion shows. I've also been to a couple conventions and spoke about it as well. And currently we're doing a Valentine's drop on February 7th as well. It's the sweater I got on right now. Just got done with the photo shoot, but it's just been a lot, having to juggle entrepreneurism, college, school, sports, not sports, but club stuff as well. So yeah, it's been a journey, honestly. But I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that you all came here to come support our vision and everybody who's been out here.
This question is also for both of you, because we all have something that really ignites us to do, whether it's to play a sport, whether it's to create a song, whether it's to draw a picture. What is that one thing that ignites your passion for entrepreneurship?
Well, I do know mine. What ignites my drive for entrepreneurship is just to be that change for the next generation. I always try to think of things like 5-10 years ahead and think how I can make an impact on the next group of people who want to do what I'm doing. So I want to be that inspiration that I had when I saw other people doing clothing brand spaces and doing like entrepreneurism. I want to be that change. That's what gets me up every morning.
My drive for entrepreneurship is very basic. I'm not even gonna hold you. I have a lot of passions in life, and maybe we'll get to talking about that. But honestly, my drive to be an entrepreneur is because I don't like people telling me what to do. Like I'm being very honest. I don't like someone to tell me that I have to be somewhere by a certain time to do this thing. I can only make this amount of money. I don't like that. Yeah. So, and that's just how I'm hardwired. I don't believe everyone is built to be an entrepreneur because I need people to work for me. But me personally, I don't like people telling me what to do. So entrepreneurship is what drives me.
I definitely understand that. Absolutely. Christian, this question is for you. I want you to talk just briefly about ABC Black Iconic Figures. How did it come to be, and how's it been an impact?
Yeah, so I love our story. So really quickly, just a quick show of hands. I do have a teacher background, so I'm gonna try and reel that in. But just honestly, if you will entertain me for just a moment, with all of you being high schoolers, if you think back from kindergarten to where you are now, just by a show of hands, besides our greats, right? Besides our Martin Luther Kings, besides our Rosa Parks, besides our possibly Malcolm X, how many of you all can honestly say there's been a great deal or an equal amount of representation of Black people in your educational experience? Okay, look around. This is why I do what I do. Right? So essentially, my co-founder and I, Delanda Green, she is my best friend. We've known each other since we were 9. She decided, we both graduated with our teaching degree. She kept going, I did not. But she realized in 2020, when the world shut down, and most specifically at the time she was working for Columbus City Schools, she realized that there was a lack of resources, most specifically for Black and brown students. So not only was there the lack of internet access because everything went virtual, but there was nothing that was tying them to or holding them accountable or even entertaining enough for them to continue to want to learn while they weren't in school. So she said, I have to create something for my babies, right? Like, I want to create something for Black and brown students. What happened was she decided to create something that did not look like anything close to what we have now. But the essence was, we want to make sure that as our students are learning to read and write, they have something that looks like them and inspires them to be whatever they want to be. So 2020, Black Iconic Figures was birthed, right? 2021, we started getting with an illustrator friend of ours who does all of our illustrations. She came to me at that point and says, Christian, I know that you've created many things. Can you make this happen? 2022, ABC Black Iconic Figures was birthed. We got our first line of products in 2023. And last year was the first year we were in full production. What drives us is the fact that we want Black and brown students to know from 2 to 3 years old, that you can literally be anything that you want to be, but it has to first start with being exposed to people who look like you to understand that you have the ability to do what you want to be. Do what you want to do and be what you want to be.
That's good. Caden, this next question is for you. How did you get connected with companies and organizations like NBBJ and Columbus Fashion Alliance? And how has that experience propelled you into what you're striving to become, or what you're doing now with your business now?
Well, with NBBJ, I got partnered with NBBJ because I was working with ACE mentorship program through my STEM club, and they didn't have an internship for me that was lined up, so my STEM advisor had to pull a couple strings to see if I can get an internship for the summer. And I actually got connected with the project manager. Her name is Monica Wengler, and she was mainly just showing me around about like all the ins and outs of architecture, from design, landscaping, like there's a lot of things that actually go into making a building that I didn't even know. Like for instance, there's a whole team that just does like the greenery and everything. Like I didn't even know that when it comes to buildings and everything. But with that, that's how I got connected. And then with Columbus Fashion Alliance, I went to a job fair my like freshman year. It was freshman year, and they were there and they were telling me about like, oh, you can start your own brand and you can learn how the ins and outs of creating your own fashion brand, which I was already interested in. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for it. And I just got connected through there and we did a brand called Central Ave. And we did a pop-up show and gave up all of our pieces to the community, to people in need that don't have clothing and students that are going back to school. With that, there's still some people that actually come around and wear it as well. And how it's basically helped my brand now, at least with MBBJ, it showed me that I don't want to be in that like corporate space. Like I enjoy like being in the like professional space, but I just realized I don't really like the 9-to-5 aspect of it. Like how you were saying, like having someone tell you what to do. So I just learned from that, like that's not really for me. And then with Columbus Fashion Alliance, I'd say that they gave me the foundation of building my brand, because my brand before I came to CFA was more of an idea, but with them being able to teach us about like storytelling, marketing, production, design, even visual merchandising, which I didn't even know went into creating a brand, but it's one of the key pillars of like why our stores look like this now. Like when you walk into Hollister, like it has like a certain vibe compared to like H&M, like that's all visual merchandising. So with that, I would say that CFA mainly gave me like the foundation to build my brand up and create something that will last and not something that will fade away in 6 months.
It's good. This question is for both of you. What advice were you given along your journeys that carry you on today, or that you carry in your heart today? That's a deep one, isn't it?
That's a head scratcher right there. I would probably say the advice I got from my teacher, his name is Zachary Traxler. He told me to always eat the cake before the icing. Now, I know y'all probably thinking like the cake before the icing, like both of them is good. But what he really means by that is like do the hard work before you can accept like the benefits of it. Like for instance, like waking up and not like scrolling on your phone or something. In that lines, like just being able to do the work first and then just be able to enjoy the benefits. And I've carried that throughout like my work ethic a lot, because there's been a lot of times where I've been like, I don't really feel like doing this right now. I'll do this later. And then I just remember that and I'm like, well, if I do the hard work now, I'll be able to enjoy the benefits later. So I just carry that mainly.
For me, I'd have to say they're kind of twofold. One is trust the process, and two is be authentic to who you are, no matter what spaces you're in. So trusting the process. Business is hard work. Yes. It looks fun, it looks easy, but it is hard work. It is a slow grind. You do not see immediate results. I know that social media makes you think that it's glamorous and everyone is just making all of the money the minute they decide to own a business. That is far from the truth. So it is hard work, and you have to ensure that this is what you want to do day in, day out, long hours, no money, all the things. You have to be willing to put in the hard work to start seeing a payoff. And then be authentic to yourself. We are a Black brand, period. We tried to teeter the line of saying we were for all people, and yes, absolutely. Anybody of any race can use our products, but we had to stand 10 toes down on why we created our brand. And it was originally for Black students, because there's a lack of resources that our students specifically need. And we weren't willing to negotiate on that.
It's good. Come on. Listen, thank you for joining me on the podcast. Can we give one more hand for Christian Johnson and Caden Gadjigo? As always, thank you for joining the Be a Baller podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Be a Baller Podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with family and friends. The Be a Baller podcast is available on all major podcast platforms. This podcast was created by Coach Tim Brown and recorded and edited by the video production class of Worthington Christian High School. Be sure to come back next week as we continue to discuss on how to build a lifelong legacy. Until then, don't forget to be a baller.